Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
Hi, I'm Jesi.
Charles.
And I'm Josh.
That's so sweet.
I was smoother than butter on a
Charlie is just happy because it's his birthday today.
Yay!
Well, happy birthday, Charlie.
Thank you.
I got you a birthday salad. It's in the back.
Jesus is watching.
Want a cookie?
Yes, please.
I'm going to be providing you with a nice warm meal for your birthday after
God,
we're done
thank you.
filming.
Oh my God, I'm tearing up now.
But today we're going to be going over
Thank you.
a short story called Charles by Shirley Jackson.
Wow.
And the discussion starter I have for this one is probably going to be something that we're relatively unanimous on. Or at least any of the sane members of the panel will agree.
I'm so ready right now.
Do you find that there is any alternate situation besides the general idea that Laurie is placing his bad behavior on Charles?
But I didn't do it
Wait, say
again.
that one more time.
Do you find that there is any alternate solution besides the general idea that Laurie is placing his bad behavior on Charles?
No, I think that's what he's doing. I think he's a 5-year-old kid and he's fooled his parents.
I did not.
I mean, personally, can I just say my one issue with this book was when I got in trouble at school, I got a phone call. My
I know.
parents got a phone call.
Yep.
Why did this woman, not call his parents to be like, hey, listen,
Number one,
this is what he's doing.
this is a different period of time.
I understand that.
Oh, yeah.
But
Number two,
still.
it's Shirley Jackson.
And number 3,
But then
Shirley
again,
Jackson.
But still,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean,
the
it
teacher was also
weeks.
always right back in that day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it was kindergarten too. But
But that's what I'm saying. It's
I
like,
think that this was not the mother of the year for sure.
No, you get fooled by a 5-year-old.
I mean, and the way
They're not
he
that smart.
spoke to
Thank
his
you.
father.
Oh yeah. The one that I thought was the most hysterical was when Laurie told his mother that he was late from school because he and all the other students watched Charles in detention.
Yes.
Who in their right mind
Believes that?
wastes their time
Yeah.
watching somebody
You
having
could be
detention?
eating Legos. You could be putting glue up your.
Yeah.
And the thing too
I mean,
is the
I
way that the
experimented
parents
a
kind of
little
like they sensationalize Charlie. You know what I mean? They're like, "Ooh, Charlie, he's so interesting." Instead of being like, well, you know, you don't hang out with that kid, Charlie. And if you mention his name in this house again, you're gonna meet the back of my belt.
Well, okay, fine, Dad. But you know what? Back then, I see it too, especially where I work. I see a lot of parents who, some parents are like, they're buddy with their kid, and they're like, it's okay, you don't have to pay that. Mommy will take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid's 18. I can't say that on camera, but like, Mom, really? And okay. But I've also seen, and I've actually had, I said to the lady, I said, I could technically call the cops on what you just did. The kid was probably about 10. She gave the kid a kick in the butt. Can't say yes on camera. Well, I just did.
Laurie was only 5 though.
Yeah.
Just starting kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not comfortable telling people how to parent.
Exactly. No, I know. But you don't kick your child. I mean,
Was he on the ground broken?
I was. No. I think what happened was he just. I mean, I might be playing devil's advocate here. Mom may have been at the end of her rope.
Of course.
She did have a.
She's a mom, of course.
I mean, I can't. I mean, I would make a horrible mom myself, so I shouldn't. I'm not.
Yes,
Let me rephrase that.
Childbirth.
Yeah, that would be your first
I had
hiccup.
to leave. In high school, I had to leave because I was puking everywhere. All right, there. Yes. Really? No, you were here before me. I had to run out of the room right before prom. They showed you that nice video, and yeah, I had to run out the room, and then I ended up grabbing my drumstick, coming in, grabbing the sticks, and leaving out. The nurse was there. She's like, "Is this kid gonna be okay? He'll never use it."
Sounds like you want to say something, Jesi?
I like food.
I was kind of looking because in my discussion notes, I actually, like, the very first thing I wrote down was that it was absolutely no surprise to me that Charles was actually Lori.
No.
It was no surprise.
I don't
And
identify
it
as
literally
Lori.
told me that right here, how a boy got spanked for being fresh. And it says, well, what did he do? It was Charles, and he was being fresh. And then it said, but Lori slid off his chair, took a cookie, and left while his father was saying, see here, young man. So he left while his father was talking to him. And that, I'm like, wait, Charles was being fresh? That's pretty fresh right there.
Yeah.
No, no.
When he walked into the house was knock over his sister's milk.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so
milk
it's
is good
like,
for you.
Baby sister's milk.
Yeah, you
that
don't do
right
that.
there told me, I'm like, okay, either Charles is like his alter ego, or Charles is
Imaginary
a kid
friend.
he's pretending is
Or
doing
trying to
all the
emulate.
things that he's been doing. Yeah, or it's like, Charles is somebody who's being a bad influence on him. But I'm like, I don't believe that second, but I believe that Lori is Charles,
Well-
whoever Charles is. So that right there just kind of told me like,
And
I know where this is going.
I've read this in its entirety 3 times, and the more I read it,
I wonder why you
the
chose
more I
this.
see Lori as nothing more than a brat.
Oh, no.
What am I,
He's
chopped
good.
liver?
Yeah, it does. Chase him around the house.
And it, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it could just be me, but if I had a child who tried to talk to his father like that, like look up, look down, haha, you're dumb, kind of thing. It's like, excuse me,
No.
Yeah.
who do you think you're talking to?
Go to your room. Take the phone away. You know.
Are you
like,
kidding me?
I mean, there's no. I don't. I work with kids a lot, and I can only say there's no. This is open to debate. There's no right way to be a parent. Okay, and I'm not a parent. I will just flat out say it. It's a parent that I'm not a parent because I don't have kids running around me going, Daddy, what's wrong with you, you idiot? You blew up the house again. Shut up. I blew a fuse.
You'd probably be. Look up, look down.
No. Look at your thumb. You're dumb.
Now, look at Charlie. Charlie with the potty mouth.
Honey, get me an alcoholic beverage. My wife would be a drum set with with whatnot. But anyway, I've seen parents scream and holler at their kids, and okay, all right, we're all entitled to a bad. And I said this before. We're all entitled to a bad day, but you got to know somehow. You got to make sure that kid is not going to grow up and like become a parent early, because I've seen kids get smacked around, and there have been times I've taken action. I'm not going to say what, but I have, made phone calls.
Allegedly, he got better, but
Yeah.
when the thing with Lori was when he did good things, he would take credit for them.
Yeah.
When he did bad things,
Charles,
most of the times he put it on Charles.
Yes, but you got to raise your kids with love. Yes, there is discipline, but there is a right way to discipline your kid, and there is the wrong way to discipline your kid. And if you're going to smack your kid around, you shouldn't be a parent.
I think to kind of go off of this, like,
Yeah. You don't hit
love,
your kid.
you love your kid,
Yeah.
but love is blind, and I think that's what was wrong with
Yeah.
Lori's mother, was that, like, it was very, very obvious
And then you
that
hear, not my kid, not my
Lori
kid,
was
not my kid.
the
Yeah.
problem child, and she totally, like,
Yeah.
even his father were like, oh, it can't be Lori, it
Not my
must be
child."
Charles.
Yeah.
Like, how could you
And-
not realize it was your own kid, because he's literally coming home doing the exact same things
Yeah.
that he said Charles did.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
how are they missing this? And I think that's kind of like, love your child, but don't be blind to what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So,
There's this.
And that's
Like,
there are parents that are like that. That's why the amount of bullies that are out there.
Yeah. I mean,
nobody wants to believe
Yeah.
that their child does wrong. And I mean, this is kind of like I mean, yes, it's a different time period, but here's a perfectly good example
And
of
back
it.
then, you hit your kid, and that was it.
Yeah, they
you
learned.
could do, yeah. Daddy took off the belt. You were going to learn hard.
And you had nobody on your side either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait till
and
your
it all
father gets
depends.
home.
It all depends on the parents too, right? Like, I mean, the punishment is a tool.
Exactly.
It's all a part of the overall picture of when you're implementing the tool,
Yeah.
or whatever the tool is that you're implementing,
Yeah.
and whether or not it works. you know?
Punishments are meant to improve behavior and not
exactly.
make
And
them
beating a child to a pulp,
them worse.
that's going to make that child feel. Now, when I grow up, I can do this to other people.
There's a difference between spanking or smacking them
Yeah.
and beating
I mean,
the living crap out of them.
Yeah.
Right,
And you know what?
absolutely.
I'm going to be honest. Hey, I've been smacked when I was a kid. My aunt was a nun 50 years, and there were times she would.
She use a ruler?
No. And she was a Melissa.
like
I'm not going to go too much, but you know what?
The foosball.
She ran convents. She ran schools. She was a principal of, I think, 5 high schools. So I don't know. This is a long time ago. She spoiled me. But if I crossed that line, whether I wanted to or not, even if I didn't know, I still paid up. There would be no dessert after dinner. There would be no TV.
Yeah.
There would be a spanking. And you want to know something? Every time I did something wrong, she would say, "Do you know why I gave you that tap on the tush?" Grandma. Good. Did you learn? Mm-hmm. And that would, because I spent a lot of
tell you why she did it.
And I didn't grow up hating her. I grew up loving her. I grew up loving people who, and there were times that she could have, but it all worked out fine. It all worked out just fine. So
I was like looking back at this,
You're fine.
like just going back to Charlie's mother and how totally
not my kid.
Yeah, not even that. Like how oblivious she is. Like I think that's the scariest part of the story. Not that this child has an alter ego or anything, but the scariest part is how oblivious she is. Mm-hmm. The whole last part when they're talking, oh, we're so interested in Lori. Well, he likes kindergarten. He had trouble adjusting the first week or so, but now he's a fine little helper with occasional lapses, of course, which is exactly what Lori talked about.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that somehow right over her head.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I suppose this time it's Charles's influence. How did she miss that? Immediately go, Charles. She's like, what do you mean Charles? Like I basically just told you that everything this supposed Charles did was actually Lori. And how does that go over your head? How are you that just so
stupid?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to say stupid. I don't want to say stupid, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the word for it.
No, it's
you get fooled by a 5-year-old, you're a dum-dum.
And I don't know. I feel like that was the scariest part about this whole was how oblivious.
I like your pen.
This
mother
was.
Both of them.
And I think a
Dad
lot of
too.
The dad too.
I think in a way this is pretty relevant to today.
It is.
Because
That's the
anytime the
scariest
child
part.
has the problem, in many cases they go after the teacher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't my son be, yeah.
I mean, like in this case, she was trying to go after another child because that's what she was saying, or that's what her son was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's this other child, and it's like, how are you missing all of the signs that
Red
it's
flag,
not?
red flag, red flag.
I'm
red flag.
not like. I mean, maybe it's because again, as I was saying, she's blinded by the love for her child.
Yeah.
There's no way my child could be like this. But it's like
He's acting like that right in front of you.
he's basically writing it down in plain English. How are you missing this?
And the teacher's pretty patient with has to be
I'm
patient
surprised.
with
Oh,
Lori.
God bless her, because
Bless her soul.
that my kid.
Final thoughts?
Larry.
I like corn.
Oh,
though.
sure.
I love corn.
I don't know. Never trust a word your 5-year-old says. Try that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
how
think
well
it's
that
just pay
works.
attention to your child's behavior, listen and see. I like Shirley Jackson. This is actually one of the first short stories I've read by her.
That's funny.
So I
love
mean,
it.
and it was very well written. It's just like I feel like maybe she was trying to go for this. Ooh, the 5-year-old is blaming things on another child. That's his alter ego or whatever. I felt like that's what she was trying to go for. I was like, nope, mom and dad are just dumb.
She should have
Like-
communicated with the teacher much sooner.
Yeah, like
Well,
Granted, they were
should and did.
the one instance the baby sister was sick, so she couldn't go to that.
The one interesting part
And
is when the
alleged-
dad does anything useful, right? And says to him, well, what do you think's going to happen to Charlie? And then it forces him to think about it. And he goes, well, he'll probably get kicked out of school. And then that's when he starts to change his behavior for a couple of weeks. He's like, I don't want to get kicked out of school, but then, whatever, it just falls back into.
Oh, and here too. Charles said today. Charles said to the teacher, "Good heavens!" I said, "Mindful of the Lord's name." So, I think there was one point where Charles used God's name in vain, and that's
He got hit and put in
got put in the corner for using the Lord's name in vain. So that's why she didn't say it at home.
But where
so,
that's
yeah.
it
So
must
I
have
mean, I
come
guess
from
it
the
kind of
parents.
shows that he is learning, But like
Yeah.
you said, I mean, the critical thinking, well, what do you think's going to happen? Well, he's going to get kicked out of school. I don't want to get kicked out of school. Let me start being good.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
Charles is starting to be good. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it just goes to show you that,
I would love
you
to
can make progress with this kid.
Yes.
If you're just not completely an idiot.
yeah.
I just wonder what would have happened. What happens after the story ends?
Yeah.
When she finds out that there is no Charles.
10
and
years
that-
later,
She
there
has
was
to go home and be like,
10 years later,
Wait
they're in
a
high
minute.
school.
Yeah.
Charles knocked up 5 women, and yeah, he's on the football team. Charles, no! What's wrong with you? I raised you better. No, you didn't, Dad. You don't even know my name.
Then there's probably going to be a new student if he keeps acting up.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
a good
sure.
chance that he may just reverse his behavior
That is
because he's a
possible.
kindergartner.
Yeah.
But you can change instead of Charles, this new kid.
yeah. We got
I don't
another
give the
kid.
parents any credit for being able to fall for that twice.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
another
like-
Charles today.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I can kind of understand, like, because, young kids have a very vivid imagination. So in a way,
No,
it
I
kind of
don't.
makes
Yes, I
sense that he kind of made up this other kid to, like,
Yeah.
blame all of his problems on.
Thank you, Shirley.
Or all his bad behavior on. But
It's
it's
just
still,
to
like...
test it, like. Just to
Yeah.
test it, be like, what do you think of this, Mom and Dad? What do you think if somebody did this?
Yeah,
in
exactly. And
school?
and again,
And they're
like,
like, "Ooh."
that's all understandable. But the fact that the parents completely missed all of the red flags that were right there in the first paragraph, like to me, I'm just like, oh no.
And he made this transition right as he was starting kindergarten.
Yeah.
At 5 years old.
But you
Before
say,
that,
you
he
know-
was innocent, and
Do you think they should tell him Charlie's bad? Be like, that's not good.
I don't think there's a such thing as a bad child.
No,
A
Well, he's
child-
acting
well,
bad.
He can display bad behavior,
Well,
but
yeah, that's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
what you
This thing is
say.
a-
However you want to word it
I
to a
mean-
5-year-old. Charlie's being bad, right?
Yeah.
Nobody says that. They just say, "Oh, what happened to Charlie? Oh, that's
Yeah, that, like, and
Oh.
they're talking like they're like high school drama kids. Like, oh, what did Charlie do today?
Yeah.
It's like, who cares? It's somebody else's kid.
in my mouth.
Like,
And
even
they kept
if
tapping
Charlie
because the
was,
parents are paying attention
Parents
to him
never
for the
grew
Charlie
up.
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
But then
I-
Charlie gets boring when he starts being good.
And then it's
I don't know. I felt like the story was more about how naive the parents are
Mm-hmm.
than it was about Charles. So
already. If you're interested in checking out Charles, I have
I'm right here.
75 short masterpieces, which includes Shirley Jackson's short piece Charles, along with so many other great works. I got this for $7.99.
I want to get that.
Yeah, this is a good collection.
I want it. It looks.
I read it from this book, which was a present.
I wonder what
Gosh.
they talk about at lunch. I wonder what they talk about at lunch when they're not talking about
Nice.
Charles.
Looks like cake.
It was a lovely book, and I was very happy to finally get to read something, for the discussions.
Oh,
Yeah, that
from
has
it.
everything
So I'm
that
like,
she's written.
yeah, it's
It's a shame
great.
that she died prematurely.
Oh.
But,
Now I'm a sad Charles.
alrighty. You shouldn't be sad because it's your birthday.
Yeah, I know.
And you're going to get good food in a little bit.
I love food.
Alrighty, be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.
Have a great day. Bye. Tune in next week.